I was fascinated by that notion of nothing. What I've just done is attempt to paint a blind black square. I'm excluding vision, and yet it makes the vision even more intense in my head. It all revolves around this idea of trying to reactivate Malevich's black square into relevance at the beginning of the 21st century.
What do you think?
Love it.
The Black Square by Russian artist Kazimir Malevich is a really big deal in art history, and I wanted to find out why.
The history of Soviet painting, the history of contemporary abstraction, all of these things are bursting out of this tiny canvas.
It's a mesmerising proposition, and it's haunted the history of 20th century art.
When Malevich's original Black Square painting was revealed in 1915, it caused outrage. It was the most radically abstract art people had seen. It was the first painting that didn't represent anything but itself.
Western artists were moving into very abstract painting, but they were still copying reality, painting a female figure, making a forest. To paint just a black square, to find the ultimate expression of what you believe in. We do not realize how a courageous thing that was. It was scandalous.
Could this work only have come out of Russia at that time?
Yes, when you have no freedom and freedom is given to you, you go to extremes, and then new things can start and happen.
It's been labelled the dawn of modernism, the 0 point of art, and gone on to influence generations of artists, from abstract painters to more broadly, like major Australian performance artist Mike Parr.
I went outside one morning and I suddenly found myself looking at the road, and I thought, bitumen is everywhere now. We're paving over the whole world with bitumen. This is really the end of the Black Square.
Malevich's Black Square was the inspiration behind Mike Parr's famous work at this year's Dark Mofo Festival, where he buried himself beneath a Hobart Road for 3 days.
I thought all people will have to look at is the bitumen. There was nothing. I said, this represents nothing. Straight away, it started representing stuff. So what I realised doing that performance was, because there was nothing, there was everything for the audience.
But like any great work, the Black Square provokes all sorts of interpretations.
First, a kind of a jigsaw puzzle of different blocks of wood.
References to the Black Square also appear in the work of major contemporary artist William Kentridge, who has a different take on its significance.
Well, for me, the great thing about the Malevich is its impurity. One thinks of it as this moment that comes out of nowhere in contemporary art. And what I've understood was that it came out of the bastard activity of making costume design.
And that's another piece in the Black Square puzzle. This icon of modern art originally began as a stage curtain in the futurist opera Victory Over the Sun, which Malevich did the designs for.
So it's not from a brilliance of purity of thought, that comes afterwards. All the spirituality and all of the mumbo jumbo, I'm convinced, is an afterthought. A justification after the event. And I think it is important, but I'm interested in the side footnotes that come into it.
People should understand the background of it. And then when you look at it, it gets a different meaning, because you get a little bit of history. You understand what freedom is. You understand what it is when freedom is taken away from you.
Malevich's period of artistic purity was, in the end, pretty short-lived. Stalinism took hold, abstraction was prohibited, and by 1933, his painting looked like this. But still, he signed it with a tiny black square.
When he died, he was in his coffin. On the coffin, other fellow artists painted the black square on it. The black square was hanging like an icon above his coffin. It was his statement, his one and only big statement he made.
Well, you can say it's just a black square, but then it has no reason to be. It only has a reason to be if you ask questions. It only has a reason to be if it provokes you. That gesture on his part changed the course of 20th century art and culture. It's an incredible revolutionary moment.